अस्सलाम वालेकुम बच्चों। कैसे हैं आप लोग? तो आज की क्लास में हम लोग जो है वो यही डिस्कस करेंगे दैट हाउ वी अटेम्प्ट द पेपर वन आंसर्स. Basically, I have a paper one business studies O level 7115 paper one variant 2 in front of me, and over here we have the short answer and data response. The time allocated, that is 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I have the paper May June 2024. So basically over here the instructions are given by the examiner that you have to answer all the questions. Do not write it in any barcode. Write only in the answer space that is provided. Total marks available, that is 80 marks. Okay. Now, before we start with the answer writing and all, first, I just want to revise with you guys the assessment objectives. Basically, assessment objectives are the things that for which you get the marks for. असेसमेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बेसिकली आपकी वो चीजें होती हैं जो आपने आंसर में लिखनी होती हैं सो दैट द एग्जामिनर गेट्स यू द मार्क. ऑलराइट, नाउ ऑफ कोर्स सी देयर आर डिफरेंट मार्क्स क्वेश्चंस एंड यू हैव टू यूज these assessment objectives carefully in each and every question. And first let's discuss this, then I'll let you know how you have to use these assessment objectives. So the first thing that we have in assessment objective is knowledge. Knowledge is basically all the definition, advantages, disadvantages, ways and methods that are that we learn from the book, from the notes that we make. So all these things are basically your knowledge. So this is all the learning part that you have to do. Then we have the application part, and application is basically the link that you create with the case study in your answers, and you explain the knowledge points that you have given with the help of the case study. Then we have the analysis, and analysis basically giving impacts on the particular business, on the case that you have been studying, and on the case that is related to the question. After giving an example of out of it, then you have to give the impact on it. Then we have the final thing, that is the evaluation part. And evaluation is basically the judgment and justification part. तो इसके अंदर आपने जो है वो ये दिखाना होता है कि आपका ओपिनियन क्या है, व्हाट्स योर ओपिनियन एंड व्हाट्स द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट पर्टिकुलर ओपिनियन. So these are the four assessment objectives, and basically we are going to discuss in each answer that what assessment objectives are important for each and every answer. Now over here we have a paper question, and the question is basically a short stem is given for the question, and the question has its different parts. So when we go through the different parts, we can see that there is a part of 2 marks, there is a B part of 2 marks, there's a C part of 4 marks, there's a D part of 6 marks, and there's a E part of 6 marks again. So total in a question there are A, B, C, D, E. Till E there are parts, and each and every part have different questions, and each and every part will be answered differently. So now over here you can see there's are some identify questions. Now the questions that have the key term identify, and these are usually the 2 marker questions. So in this questions, what you have to do is you just have to provide knowledge. Basically, we decide on the assessment objectives, like what assessment objectives we will have to put in. It completely depends on the keyword that is used and the marks that are available. Only then you will be able to decide what uh, assessment objectives you have to put in your answer. So over here, the keyword is identify 2 reasons, and the marks available are 2. So identify 2 reasons why a government might support business startups. You don't have to explain anything. You just have to state the knowledge points. That is why a government might support business startups. So over here, it reduces the unemployment. This will get you 1 mark. It increases the competition in the market. This can also get you 1 mark. It increases the GDP of the country. That can again get you 1 mark. And to increase the tax revenue, again, you can get 1 mark for this. So basically, these are the 4 reasons that I have written, which might be included in this answer. Like out of these 4, you can write any 2 and get your 2 marks. Then we have identified 2 ways a business can build customer relationships. So building customer relationship is quite important. So identify two ways a business can build customer relationship. 2 marks are available. So for that, you're going to write, of course, offering good quality products, providing discounts, offering longer credit periods, and asking what the customers want. Like you can write all these points and build a excellent customer relationship. So you can write out of these 4 points, you can write any two to get full 2 marks. All right. Need not to explain, neither you have to make any link to the case study, nothing. Now comes the 4 marks questions. And in the 4 mark question, basically, you have the keyword outline, one benefit and one limitation to Nikki's business. Now, Nikki's is the case study that we have in this question, and it has written Nikki's business of operating in a niche market. So, when the case study's name appears in the question, you have to give application in that particular answer because application marks are awarded. So 4 marks are available here. So 1 mark is for knowledge and 1 mark is for application per point. That means the benefit that you will write and the application that you will provide. Each carries 1 mark for only the benefit. And then the limitation will be 1 mark for knowledge. That is the limitation point. And the explanation according to the case study will be another mark. So total 4 marks are allocated this way. So for that, let's read the case study. Nikki wants to be a successful entrepreneur. She plans to start up a travel business specializing in walking holidays. Nikki will be operating in a niche market and she is preparing a business plan to help with her decision making. Nikki has been told government support is available for the business startups and she knows building customer relationship will be very important. So these are the one benefit and one limitation that you have to write for Nikki's business of operating in a niche market. So niche market is basically a small market and it's like a market like it's a group in a mass market, and in this group people have similar characteristics and you target the product to them. So basically they are targeting a niche market, so the benefit that can be is that there is low competition. So low competition. This is the knowledge point that you're going to write. This will get you the marks for knowledge. So you scored 1 mark over here by writing only low competition. And now you have to link your answer to the case study. So as it is a startup business, so you can write that as Nikki's business is a startup, she will be able to survive in the niche market due to the low competition. So basically, this part of the question answer is getting you the startup. As Tiki's business is the startup, she will be able to survive in the niche market. This is basically your application that you have used from the information, and the further that I have written is the explanation to make my point clear and concise and valid for the full mark. So over here, knowledge mark, application mark, I'll secure 1 mark here, 1 mark here. So I will get 2 marks for this particular point. Moving on to a limitation. Now, what can be a limitation? That usually the business is having a smaller market, so the needs can be changed. It does not spread the risk and relies only on a single product, and the lack of economies of scale as well, because usually the niche markets do not produce in bulk quantity. So now the suitable point for this specific business, as it is a service business, can be that the target market. So this is your knowledge point. That is the target market is. So you can write over here the service business specializing in working holidays. So Nikki will be operating in a niche market. So you can write that as business is targeting only working holiday, the market may be very small and might lack revenue for the business. So now another mark of application I will be getting is here that Nikki is business targeting only working holidays. So this is the application that I have used in my answer, the working holidays, which is also written over here. You can see, and I have further explained the point and made it clear. So again, 2 marks will be here. So I will get a 4 out of 4 in this particular question. So working holidays is given in the case study. I have used it for my application and explaining my knowledge point clearly that how target market is small, and I have explained it by using the link to the case study. So this is how you answer the 4 marker questions. Basically, you need to write knowledge plus application, and application must be explaining the knowledge point. Like if, for example, you write target market is small, target market is small, full stop, and you just write working holidays because you see that this is from the case study and you just write it working holidays. You will not get marks for application. You have to explain the point of knowledge with reference to the case study and can use some wordings from the case study to get the application marks. So this is what application is all about. Moving on to another question, that is explain one way each of the following sections in the business plan might be helpful to Nikki. So again, the case study's name is in the question. So you have to give the application, you have to give the one way. So basically, this will be the knowledge. And of course, each of the following section might be helpful. So might be helpful will be your analytical part. That means कि आपको ये बताना है कि how this will be a benefit or helpful for the particular business. The marks that are available is 6. So you know that you have to write knowledge over here, and then your explanation will consist of application and analysis, and each carries a single mark. So this whole point will be of 3 marks, and this whole point will be of another 3 marks. So total of 6 marks is so knowledge, application, analysis are required in this particular answer. So 1 mark for this, 1 mark for this, and 1 mark for analysis. All right. So now let's write how each section might be helpful for the business. So if business objectives are written in the business plan, so it can give a role, a direction, a target to the employees, and she can use this to monitor the progress of the employees to see whether they are highly motivated or not. Then if business objectives are written, so it will help you in making improved decision making. Then you can also measure your success. Then data about the market is given, so it shows you the target market that you will have. It shows whether the demand is sufficient or not. It shows the number of customers in the market. It also helps you to make decisions such as setting up the prices. So these things can be helpful in certain ways. So how can these business objectives be helpful? So you can write that can act as a goal for Nikki's employees as Nikki has started a travel business. Each employee might have a target of tourists that they have to engage, and as a result, Nikki can monitor the performance of its workers. All right. Now, over here, this is your knowledge. So you will get 1 mark here. As Nikki has started a travel business, is the application part, so you will get 1 mark here. And as a result, Nikki can monitor the performance of its workers. So this is the analytical part. So 1 mark will be here. So this is how you have developed a single point and given the knowledge, application, analysis of this particular point. Moving on to the data about the market. Now, how can data about the market help business such as Nikki's business? So you can write shows the size of the market. Then there will be your application and analysis in the explanation. So you can write as Nikki's is targeting a niche market. She can know the size of the market, and as a result, she can estimate the level of demand and revenue for her business. So now over here, this is your knowledge point. So 1 mark here. Then as Nikki is targeting a niche market, this is your application over here. And as a result, they will know estimated demand is the analysis. So 1 mark here, 1 mark here, and 1 mark here. So you will get 3 marks for this and a total of 6 marks for the whole answer. So this is how you write the D part in your paper 1. Knowledge, application, analysis. These 3 things are assessed in the D part for the 6 marks, and each carries 1 mark, and you have to give 2 points. The total is 6 marks, and this is how you write these answers. Now, the E parts are the generic questions. These are the generic questions. And when I talk about the generic questions, this means that you don't have to give any link to the case study, and as there are no marks for application. Now over here, you can see another hint that is given by the examiner that there are no marks for application is explain 2 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. Which characteristic is likely to be the most important? Justify your answer. So in the whole question, you can see that there is no name of the case study given, whereas over here, when application was required, Nikki's name was used, Nikki's business was used. So over here, the examiner is saying that 2 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur, which characteristic is likely to be important? Justify your answer. So you just simply have to give knowledge, analysis, then another point of knowledge because 2 characteristics are needed. Facts you will have to write it down. All right. It will be the judgment, then the justification. Out of the two, which one you think is not important and why? So let's write it down, the answer. Then over here, you can see that one of the characteristic is that the entrepreneur must be creative. So you can straight away start your answer that an entrepreneur must be creative, as this will lead to the business standing out from the competitors in the market, whereas they must also have risk taking abilities, as they as this will encourage them to invest more, even if there is a chance of losing all of the investment. Hence, in my opinion, a risk taker characteristic is much important, because if they don't take risks, they might lose on opportunities to increase sales. Whereas being creative would never guarantee that the new idea will be a success. So now over here I have completed my answer, and let's highlight what all assessment objectives I have written. So इसके अंदर आपको knowledge analysis, फिर knowledge with the second point उसकी analysis लिखनी थी, फिर उसके बाद आपने evaluate करना था कि कौन सा बेहतर है और क्यों बेहतर है, और evaluation में आपने जजमेंट देनी थी और फिर जस्टिफिकेशन देनी थी। और जस्टिफिकेशन का आसान तरीका ये है कि आप दोनों पॉइंट में से कोई एक पॉइंट जब सेलेक्ट कर चुके हो, तो जो सेलेक्ट करा है आपने उसका फायदा देखेंगे, और जो रिजेक्ट करा है आपने उसका नुकसान लिखेंगे। So let's mark what all points I have given here. So an entrepreneur must be creative, as this will lead to the business standing out from the competitors in the market, whereas they must also have the risk taking ability. All right. So now over here, they must be creative. So this is the knowledge, as this will lead to the business standing out from the competitors in the market. So this is the analysis. So 1 mark here, 1 mark here. Whereas they must also be risk taking. So risk taking is another knowledge point. So you will get 1 mark over here. And then as this will encourage them to invest, so as this will encourage them to invest more, even if there is a chance of losing all the investment. This is your analysis part. So this is your 1 mark. So now we are done with knowledge analysis, knowledge analysis. So we have secured 4 marks, and the remaining 2 marks are for the evaluation. So hence, in my opinion, a risk taker characteristic is much more important, because if they don't take risks, they might lose on opportunities to increase sales. So basically, I have given my opinion that out of the two, which one is important. So this is my evaluation one, and it as now I'm giving the reasoning behind why I have selected risk taker and why I have rejected being creative. So we can see that it is much important, because if they don't take risks, they might lose on opportunities to increase sales, whereas being creative would never guarantee that new idea will be a success. So this is again the evaluation, which is the justification of the answer of my opinion. You write your 6 marks generic questions, in which you have written the knowledge analysis, and then the two evaluation part, that is the judgment and the justification. So this is how you will complete your 6 marker answer. And similarly over here, each part of the question, like जितने भी questions हैं उसमें जितने भी part यहाँ पे e parts, you can see they all are generic questions. So you have to completely use this formula to answer your questions. Now there is another thing that I wanted to discuss was the calculation questions, because many students are getting confused in the calculation questions. So calculation carries 2 marks, all right? So what you have to do is you have to write the formula that is given over here. See, you have to input the values and you have to write the final answer to get the complete 2 marks over here. So calculation mein they asked about the ROCE, return on capital employed. So ROCE calculate hota hai through profit divided by capital employed. So over here you had 150,000 as profit, divided by capital employed is 750,000. So you calculated and you got an answer of 25%. This is your 150 divided by 750 multiplied by 100. We'll get an answer of 20%. So this is your 20%. 20% is your work capital employed, ROCE. All right. So 20%, you will get the answer. You will get 2 marks for this. So this is how you do the calculation questions. Rest all the questions are same. For in 2 marker question, you have to just give 2 knowledge points. In 4 marks questions, you have to give knowledge plus application. In 6 marks question, part D, you have to give knowledge application analysis. And in E part, you have to give a knowledge application analysis and evaluation. So I'll just summarize all the parts over here. So answer writing summary. So answer writing summary is that in paper one, each part is 2 marks. So you have to write 2 knowledge points. We're going to write 2 knowledge points. B part again is 2 marks. So again, you have to write 2 knowledge points. C part, C parts are 4 marks, and usually they are classified into 2 categories. in which sometimes they ask you for four characters. So let me check if there is any question in this paper which is asking for four knowledge points. Okay, yeah. So over here you can see that they are asking you to identify four legal contracts over legal controls over employment. So legal control one, two, three, and four. So four knowledge will be written over here. So sometimes they ask you the four knowledge questions. So you have to write the four knowledge points in one of the questions. There will always be a question in the paper. And then there is knowledge plus application question, and you have to make 2 points. So 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for application. So this will get you the 4 marks. Then in part D, which is the keyword with the explain, so you have to write knowledge plus application plus analysis and 2 points you have to write. So that will get you the 6 marks. So total 6 marks. And then you have the part E, which is justify. And this is a generic question. So over here, you will get marks for knowledge, analysis, knowledge, analysis, evaluation, which is your judgment, plus evaluation, which is your justification. So you will get 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for analysis, 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for analysis, 1 mark for evaluation. Total marks. So as it is a generic question, so you're not getting any marks for the application. So this is the answer writing summary of the paper one. So hopefully guys, you understood how you have to solve the answers, and now you can practice as much as you can and send me the answers